And we're live.
Woo! All right. Hello to everyone. Welcome to the Friday Smackdown edition of the Pinfall Podcast. I am Liz. I am joined by my lovely little co-host, Mark.
Lovely and little.
Lovely and little. You might be.
What?
It's quite big.
What?
So tonight we're going to talk about the last episode of Smackdown before Backlash starts. And it's exactly what you would have expected out of an episode before a pay-per-view event, because we had a lot of not a lot, that's for sure. We can start by talking base. They started today's episode off by recapping the Sheamus and Jeff Hardy feud that is still ongoing. And I think if someone told me that the first 15 minutes of tonight's SmackDown episode was going to end with full of Jeff Hardy's urine sample, I would have said you're lying.
Yeah.
But that's where we ended up today.
Definitely, probably one of the most unexpected starts that we've seen in a long time.
Also, it's just... So, of course, we start off with Sheamus coming out, and everyone hates Sheamus now. And that's... We talked about this before. It's one of the reasons why I'm not... I enjoy that there's, like, a little noise, I guess, from, like, fans or trainees. But I'm not loving having the trainees there, only because, like, feels like someone told them, hey, so you're supposed to hate Sheamus tonight, and you're supposed to like Jeff Hardy, so, you know, kind of get on that.
Mm-hmm.
But Sheamus starts off by coming out with a doctor,
Not
security men.
Not a real doctor, by the way. I saw somebody post this on Reddit that it's not a real doctor. He is an actor who has been a doctor and stuff before.
Oh, shocker. Shocker of all shockers.
in a fake wrestling show.
And so in addition to his one doctor and 4 security men, we also had 2 men coming out with a box. And I think we both kind of made the connection almost immediately.
Yeah. I said that Jeff Hardy was going to do his thing and slide into the ring and just slide right into the box. I thought there was something in the box initially, but once I saw that they had the doctor and it was like a ring more than like a box, I was like, oh, he's going to ask for a pee sample for some reason.
And the best part is the camera was at like a high enough angle, like if it had kept that one camera on everything that was happening, you would have seen what was happening.
Yeah. You would have seen the bottle of apple juice he was pouring into the bottle.
So Sheamus had Jeff Hardy do a sobriety test, and it was supposed to be like a rapid test. So like Jeff Hardy would have the results like within the time that they were standing there while Sheamus made fun of him.
Which there's no such thing.
And even if there is, I'm sure that cannot possibly be conclusive.
Yeah.
But I just... Before we get into the whole throwing of the pee, this sucks for Sheamus. And I feel so bad for him because like he's been such a big name for so long. And now it's like he has to play not only a heel, which would have been fine. That would have been fine going into it. But he has to play a heel that's playing off of actual like bad stuff that's happened in Jeff Hardy's life. And Jeff Hardy annoys me to no end.
Mm-hmm.
But the man does have addiction problems, as we learned by the 3 different mugshot pictures that we got. Hi, Pete. And it just sucks that Sheamus has to come out there and be like, you're a junkie. It's like,
yeah.
Why is he doing this?
It also doesn't help that they showed his 3 mug shots in a montage right before.
And the thing is that it goes back to the same thing that I've been saying constantly, which is I um I don't I still don't think it was Sheamus. I don't think anyone could convince me it was Sheamus. I don't Sorry, I'm getting yelled at. I don't understand why, if Sheamus was the one who did crash the car, why he would be so adamant about proving that Jeff Hardy is an addict still, and then get so enraged when the results came in later saying that he was sober.
Well, I think if they were going to go down the route that he did do it, it would be because, like, he needs a cover-up, and his one cover-up was Jeff Hardy testing positive for drug and alcohol, which everyone would just be like, oh, so Jeff did do it and not Sheamus, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that is something we tossed around, but I just feel like that's going to such great lengths when you know who did it. Like, I guess, like, if he did it, like, that's going to, like, going so far out of the way to prove things that might not even be convincing at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I am still 100% of the belief that there's no way in hell that he did it. You could show me video evidence and I still would be like, no.
It's Corbin in a wig.
It is Corbin in a wig. He just hates Elias. It has nothing else to do with, like, Jeff Hardy or, like, his problems. He was just like, Jeff left the keys in his car. And there's Elias. Well, maybe this will get him to stop playing music for once.
Wow, way to steal my joke that I made earlier.
We're pretending we're in different spaces.
Mm-hmm.
So we then got Sheamus. Sheamus got the large amount of urine, the astronomically large amount of urine, thrown at him. So I guess Jeff Hardy must have gone out there with a full bladder today.
And it looked like he almost...
Not my ideal wrestling state.
Looked like he almost just gagged on said urine, because he was on the ground for a lot of that time, even took his shirt off, too.
I was really wondering if he was going to make himself throw up. I was wondering if he was going to commit that much to it.
That might be too much for WWE.
I'm glad he didn't, for my personal sake.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the first 15 minutes of Smackdown tonight. Probably should have been an omen of things to come, because tonight was weird.
Also, stay tuned, everybody, till the end. Not only will we be giving our normal promo of the night, fighter of the night, and fight of the night, but we will also be giving our predictions for Backlash happening this Sunday. And also, I know I mentioned last time that there would be a wheel, but we haven't been able to work out sort of the kinks in that. So I will install that on Sunday for the Backlash episode. It'll be a lot of fun.
Lots of fun stuff coming. Stare at currently. After P-Gate 2020, New Day versus Shinsuke and Cesaro, which I guess is like a new thing that they're doing because Forgotten Sons can't be used right now.
And it also makes sense because Shorty G had kind of his rivalry with them, and they're kind of backing Shorty G.
It's just weird that, like, they started out backing Shorty G, and now Shorty G is once again gone into the ether.
Yeah.
Whatever. And so Shinsuke ends up winning this fight for Cesaro and him. And I have to say, I am still not convinced. I mean, they were talking about how he won the Royal Rumble a couple years back, and I was like, are we talking about the same man? Because...
Wait, who were they talking about winning the Royal... What?
Shinsuke.
I thought they were talking about Cesaro.
No, they were talking about how Shinsuke won it a couple years ago, and, like, when you consider, like, Drew McIntyre won it this past year. Comparing him to where Shinsuke is right now, it's very confusing.
That was before Brock Lesnar showed up.
There were some really cool moves. Kofi definitely got like some really awesome like aerial kicks in, which I love seeing from him because he's so light. And we got to see more of Cesaro being Cesaro, which I don't know how we didn't notice it before, but he's a funny guy to watch.
Yeah.
He really has a way of making fun just to watch him like standing ringside. But Kofi got like a lot of really cool moves in tonight. He like managed to kick Shinsuke in the face by like jumping up in the air. He did like a kind of faux like Superman punch and like a Jeff Hardy move almost. And I just keep wondering like how much longer we're gonna have to wait for them to like, because right now Miz and Morrison are getting the go ahead to fight Braun, and New Day's not really doing anything. Like moving.
There's what I've been noticing is there's kind of like an A tier in SmackDown and then the B tier. The A tier is like everything happening at Backlash. You've got Miz and Morrison, Braun, the ladies, and the Jeff Hardy and Sheamus, and then the Intercontinental Championship, which is Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles. And then you've got the B tier, which is a lot of the tag teams like New Day, Usos, Lucha House Party, and Cesaro, Shinsuke, who were formerly Sami Zayn's team. And they're kind of the people that you just have, that for now, you just having to supplement the runtime.
Yeah. And I just don't think that they have stories for them right now.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think they've got anything for them to like be working towards, which is frustrating because like I remember prior to a lot of things happening, prior to their budget cuts, you know, there was 4-way matches between Lucha House Party and the Usos and the Miz and Morrison and the New Day, and that was fun and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that soon enough, because like things are kind of starting to get back on track. I guess Florida doesn't tell us their real coronavirus numbers, so who's to say? But I'm hoping as things kind of start like kicking up a little more as far as like the world and this pandemic are concerned, that maybe we're going to start seeing a little more action, a little more something.
Yeah, because I've been noticing there's a significantly small amount of female wrestlers in SmackDown right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if a lot of them are gone because of coronavirus or there's just a small amount to begin with, but you've got Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, Bayley, Sasha Banks. Is Lacey Evans? No, Lacey Evans is Raw, right?
Yes.
And then you've got Tamina,
who we haven't seen a lot of recently at all.
Yeah. That's only 5 that I can just name right off the bat.
Did you say Nia Jax?
She's Raw.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize you were talking about SmackDown.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot going on women-wise in SmackDown at all right now. And kind of sucks because I don't know how more Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross versus Bayley and Sasha and versus the Iconics, and then all 3 of them against each other. It's like I don't know how much more of that I can really entertain myself with.
Mm-hmm.
And like we haven't even gotten that much Mandy and like Sonya Deville stuff recently.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're also SmackDown.
I think Lacey, because Lacey fought Sonya, so I think she's kind of like doing like the whole floating between, sorta.
Because didn't she? I feel like she had a tag team recently. But yeah, so that's also Lacey Evans, Sonya, Mandy. So they're all SmackDown. So, but you don't see much of them. Mandy probably because she's amongst the Otis storyline right now.
I mean, the most female wrestling stuff that we really get to see right now is in NXT.
Yeah,
they've got a plethora, a farm of women wrestlers that they can just pull from whenever they need to.
A farm of women.
Well, you know, it's called like minor leagues is called the farm, like in baseball and stuff. So like, It's not supposed to be derogatory. It's a term. I'm a woman.
Anyway.
Anyways. um, so after that fight, which was fine, we got to see Cesaro doing his like distraction stuff, which I love to see. I like watching him do it more than I like watching like Bayley and Sasha do it or the Iconics. So
It's mostly because Cesaro kind of gives off the appearance of a very serious fighter, and he also has like the physical gestures and everything of like a cartoon character, basically.
yeah, he's fun to watch. He's become a lot more fun to watch, I think, as this pandemic has gone on. I don't remember him being that interesting up until very recently, up until that 12-man match.
I mean, as much as I love Sami Zayn, Sami leaving has probably been the best thing for Cesaro.
I think he was playing second fiddle a lot, and I think Sami leaving kind of gave him the room to be the jester of the team.
Yeah.
Because Shinsuke definitely is.
Yeah.
Not.
I don't know what they're planning with Shinsuke, if anything, but
He did do a couple funny moves in the ring, though. He danced around a little bit, and I was like, what is going on?
I mean, maybe they're planning on having them be part of the tag team circuit. That would be pretty cool to see. Rather than just Sami coming out and having the two of them attack just like a single guy.
Like goons.
Yeah. But, I don't know. Cesaro is one of my favorite wrestlers to watch now.
Yeah.
But
you never know what he's going to do.
I'm also not convinced on Shinsuke yet.
I know. It's hard. So, after that match, which after we finished watching it, I was kind of like, we spent the first hour watching P get thrown in Sheamus's face, and this match, which wasn't that interesting. I was like, I need something good to happen. And then we got the promo with Tucker and Otis.
Mm-hmm.
Because little Tucky's back.
Yeah. That was...
I'm so happy. We have the same hair.
That was a really pleasant surprise, seeing Tucky back.
I know, and like it really wasn't teased for a while until all of a sudden, like you told me, I think this morning, you were like, oh, Tucker's back. Or like last night, I think.
Yeah, I just saw a random Reddit post that didn't have many likes or upvotes. That was just like, this 6-man tag team with Tucker. It was really weird.
The fact that the promo starts with like, it started with Tucker testing Otis's senses, saying that he can't always trust his eyes. And he like does like a hearing test and a smell test. And then Mandy comes up out of nowhere and kisses him, and Otis is like, oh, Tucker, I appreciate the encouragement, but I was like, oh, my boys.
Yeah.
Happy Gay Pride Month. But it's nice to see him back. It's nice to see him doing stuff. It didn't seem quite like he had the same fire, which we'll talk about later when we talk about the match, but it didn't seem like he had quite the same, like, oomph as he normally did, but it is his first match back since like a month ago, I think.
And I mean, we also can't forget that he's one person in a 3-man tag team. He didn't get much time in the spotlight, and I'm sure they didn't plan on any like finishing moves or anything with him, because a lot of the attention was on Otis and Braun. He was just kind of there to just be like, hey, I'm back.
One thing I'm curious about is Tucker was talking to Otis and suggesting that tonight is the night that he used his Money in the Bank contract.
Right.
And I guess maybe they didn't make it clear enough, or maybe they meant to not make it clear enough. I guess they're implying that he should try to use it against Braun?
Yeah, I mean, they've teased that the last time he was in the ring with Braun. He's just had that for so long and he hasn't shown what he's going to do with it in any way. I was hoping he was going to challenge AJ Styles, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But that didn't happen. He might challenge Braun, but is the Miz and Morrison Braun match for the title? Or is that just...
Yeah.
Okay. So, he might challenge Braun after Backlash.
Yeah, and I definitely want to see that. Sorry, I'm lagging a little bit, I think, because my computer's trying to load more than one thing at a time, so...
Yeah,
it's a little iffy.
You've been kind of like... Your voice has been coming before your lips.
I'm out of sync. Yeah, it says here that it's for the Universal Championship, so
Okay.
it is a title match. But yeah, I mean, sure he'll wait till after Backlash, but also he did really only get it like a month ago, I think, so that's not that long to hold on to a contract. You probably want to wait until the right time. Like, you're not going to just challenge the first guy out of the gate.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of all the people that have titles in SmackDown right now. Because you've got Braun. I mean, who else do you have?
Maybe the New Day for their tag team championship.
Yeah. Didn't he say he was waiting for Tucky before he was planning on using it?
Yeah, no, I'm not shocked that Tucker is like... More so, I'm not shocked that Tucker is suggesting that he use it, rather than I'm confused as who he wants to use it against.
Right, yeah, no, I got that. But maybe since he has been waiting for Tucker to use it, he plans on using it for the tag team title.
It's possible. And also, they would have to be careful to suggest that Otis wants to use it against Braun, because Braun is putting his title on the line for Backlash. So if they're implying that or Otis wants to use it against Braun, then that's implying that Braun's going to have it after the Sunday. Which would not shock me, but...
They're also doing the same thing with NXT, how Finn Balor wants Keith Lee's title, Keith Lee wants Adam Cole's title, and then wasn't there another one thrown in there?
Karrion Kross wants Adam Cole's title too.
Yeah. So I mean,
Adam Cole's a dead man, but
it's not the first time we've seen something like this.
True. I don't know. We'll see. I still feel like I'm in the fog with it, but speaking of titles, let's discuss the hour-long.
Well, we didn't get to something in that promo. We didn't get to Jeff Hardy and Sheamus coming out and just brawling right in the middle of that promo.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, out of nowhere, in the middle of like me really wanting to know what Tucker's talking about with Money in the contract. All of a sudden, Sheamus and Jeff Hardy come out of the left field, eating each other up. Jeff Hardy's shirt is ripped. The one female ref has to step in, as well as some other man.
Your whole last sentence just cut out there.
Well, as I was saying, that Jeff Hardy's shirt was totally ripped.
Mm-hmm.
And then the female ref had to come out, as well as some other man, just to break them up. And I just love the idea that they were alone somewhere and just decided, you know what? Let's go at it. We're fighting each other.
I was really hoping that after seeing that, we would see them come out and brawl during the Intercontinental Championship. That would have been so funny. But alas, let's talk about it.
If we must. So, Intercontinental Championship, after all the drama, after all the kind of pointless hullabaloo, I guess, because at the end of the day, the two people that were left after Elias and Jeff Hardy were kicked out of the tournament, those were the two people that ended up fighting in the final anyway. So
I mean, it makes sense because it was a good way to get Jeff Hardy out of the tournament and have somebody else besides him win, because there would be a lot of outrage if his first tournament back, this legendary name, and he lost to AJ Styles or Daniel Bryan.
So, Mark, I just want you to know the Earth is a sphere. Apparently, AJ doesn't know that.
Yeah, we were treated to the knowledge the other day that AJ Styles is a flat earther, allegedly. And there's this amazing video of Daniel Bryan just like he just turns to Jeff Hardy, or turns to AJ Styles and says, "The Earth is a sphere." Let me try and find the video right now and play it.
Mind you, AJ does not call himself a flat earther. He just thinks he makes some points.
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
Let me see. Is this it? No, I don't want to see the video.
Renee was the one who was interviewing the blonde girl.
Okay, I found it. Let me pull it up on YouTube. Let's see if I can pull up a video here.
We should have some like waiting music.
Oh god, what did I just do? Okay. Sorry, I am trying to get this video in and it's somehow not working. Okay. So here it is. Liz, you won't be able to hear it, but everyone else will.
I have a very slow brain, according to AJ.
I have a cold. I'm kind of dumb.
Hey, AJ, do you want to talk about how you think the Earth is flat?
Do you want to talk about how your feet are flat?
They are flat.
Your feet are
but
flat.
like he legitimately thinks the Earth is
I
flat.
do not think the
Yes,
Earth is
he
flat.
does.
I'm just saying there's some stuff about it.
He's a
That's all.
flat. He's a flat earther.
I'm
So
not a
he
flat
wants to
earther.
say that I think slowly.
Okay.
The Earth is a sphere.
Okay. Well,
Runs on an
The Earth
axis.
is a sphere.
good. I'm not a flat earther. I'm just saying there's some things about it that make sense. I don't think you can handle it.
And then he ends it with, "I don't think you can handle it."
He's just such... He's a fool.
Yeah. But anyway, let's talk about the actual fight.
Yeah, I guess. If we must. It was, in spite of the fact that it was basically an hour-long match, it was definitely interesting to watch. It was pretty much like a Daniel Bryan submission showcase.
Yeah, it was definitely like one of the most exciting matches in a while on SmackDown. Not the result we were expecting or wanted, especially like here's my grievances with it. Normally I wouldn't care if AJ Styles won, because he's like a great wrestler. He's a big name, but they have been setting up the story for a while since the Intercontinental Championship began, especially during the last face-off, that there's two conflicting ideologies here. Daniel Bryan believes that he works really hard to be the best, and won't think he's the best until he works for it. That's basically it. And AJ Styles thinks he's the best because he deserves it. He deserves the title. He feels entitled to it. And right off the bat, right off of those two ideologies, you would think that Daniel Bryan, in the classic story structure, would come out on top. He even went as far to say, like, with AJ Styles, he'd be very selective on who can challenge him. Only the best, only those he thinks are worthy. But Daniel Bryan would let anybody challenge him. Anybody at all. Because he wouldn't be the best unless he was able to defend that title from everybody. So it kind of doesn't make sense with having AJ win. I mean, unless they have more planned. What I was thinking was that they were going to have somebody come in and accuse AJ Styles of being the one that sabotaged the championship. And then they would revoke the title and have Daniel Bryan fight someone at Backlash for the title so they could add one more fight onto it. But alas, that didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to get over the disappointment of this. It's just, it does suck because, like, as you were saying, the feel-good ending that I think we wanted was Daniel Bryan wins, because Daniel Bryan, his whole character line is like, why wouldn't he deserve this? Why wouldn't he be the one who's holding this? Because he believes that, like, his whole thing, even more so than what you were saying, was like that he will never think that he's the best. He's just going to keep working to be the best person he can be.
Mm-hmm.
In the sense, like, in his head, as opposed to what it seemed like for AJ Styles, was AJ Styles is saying, I am the best. And Daniel's like, I'm just always working to be better.
Right.
You know, I there's not going to be like a peak I can hit. There's not like a title, like a benchmark that I can hit. I just have to keep going. And I guess in a way, you know, maybe that makes it more comforting that he lost. Cause like, I don't think that this is going to turn into like his downfall or anything. But at the very least, one positive that we can get out of it is that we saw a lot of good wrestling. And even though it seemed like AJ kind of got tired towards the end, which was understandable. I mean, they both looked very exhausted. And a lot of his punches after a certain point kind of became like, there was a lot of stuff that like we were both watching and like several moments where we sat back like, oh no, one of them is dead.
I'm getting a little static on your mic right now. Some little pops at the end of your sentences, but while you're looking at that, what was I gonna say? Like, it very much felt like the end of a story for Daniel Bryan. It very much felt like his sort of wrap up. Like, his storyline right now is going to be tied up because they had his fight with Drew Gulak to start it off. They had him being the modest one and saying, yes, I will be the one to fight someone else instead of just moving up to the finals. And it felt like this was the mountaintop that Daniel Bryan has been climbing to.
But now there's just another mountain in his way.
True. I mean, if he decides to continue to pursue it, he might not challenge AJ Styles for the belt. He might move on to a different pursuit. And I doubt AJ Styles would even let him challenge him. Because of how close this match was, he'd probably be too afraid of losing it. I also thought that The Undertaker was going to come out at some point for his last ride.
The final ride is AJ Styles, and that's it.
But it was... it was so disappointing, and I don't know if they don't like if that's it to the Intercontinental Championship, then that's really disappointing. If they plan on doing more, especially with the whole finding out who sabotaged it, then that could redeem it. But I mean, the fight was great in and of itself.
I mean, yeah, the fight was awesome. Like, just to watch them, like, methodical, on both ends. Like, both guys did this. Just, like, Daniel focused so much on, like, destroying AJ's arms, and AJ spent so much time destroying his left knee. To watch that was, like, really exciting, because it wasn't just like, oh, I'm going to kick you in the face, and then I'm going to kick you in the leg, and then I'm going to pin you and throw you on your back and stuff like that. I was like, no, I'm going to make sure that your knee doesn't work anymore, so you can't kick me.
Mm-hmm.
Which was really cool to watch. And again, it was a lot of technical stuff, which we both really enjoy. I got like 3 German suplexes in a row that AJ kicked out of every single time, which was. But I think you're right. I think if they leave it at this, it's gonna be really upsetting.
Mm-hmm.
But I still don't think that this chapter is closed entirely until we have genuine proof. Because I hope that's what the writers are trying to do, which is build up to actual proof being shown that, you know, Sheamus did do it or Sheamus didn't do it. And I'm hoping, in my dream world, in my fantasy world right now, the outcome is Sheamus was not the person who set up Jeff Hardy. The person who set up Jeff Hardy was in some way instructed by AJ Styles.
Mm-hmm.
AJ Styles loses the belt. Daniel Bryan is given the belt.
Yeah, I don't think he would be given the belt. If he was offered the belt, I don't think he'd even accept it. He might want to fight someone.
He probably want to fight Jeff Hardy for it.
Yeah. I think the Sheamus Jeff Hardy fight at Backlash, there's going to be more to it, because right now, what's the motivation behind it? Just Sheamus wants recognition or revenge or something? Like, it doesn't seem like enough for a pay-per-view fight. And considering there's a lot going on with Sheamus and Jeff Hardy now, even during this episode, there's definitely got to be more behind it. Like, there's going to be something that sort of piggybacks onto it.
Yeah, I mean, the story definitely cannot be complete. I don't think, you know, people in charge of writing for the WWE have been doing this for a minute now. Most of the people that, like, actually pull all the moves and write everything out and are in charge of this have been doing it for a while. They should know that there is no way that it will be believable that Sheamus is, like, has fought this hard. Because, like, his whole thing was proving himself against Jeff Hardy. He's had a pretty good few, like, interactions with him where, like, he beat him up.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that his one brogue kick last SmackDown was enough to knock him out cold. It's just, it doesn't make sense to me that he was working that hard to, like, make his way and to, like, prove that he can do things just to cheat. Like, that doesn't mesh in my head. So I think that there's got to be something more coming at Backlash. I'm hoping there is. I am tired of seeing Sheamus as this type of a heel where it just seems like they're like, you know what, we hate Sheamus all of a sudden. Let's make him the worst person ever.
Yeah.
And I don't think they would have accepted anyone else, like, being this person in Jeff Hardy's story, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're both old names. Like, I don't think that they would, like... I don't really think that they would feel right about, like, anyone else, like... I don't know... You know, Braun or something. Like, someone that's a bigger superstar. I don't think that they would be able to believably sell, like, someone who's younger going after Jeff Hardy. Like, King Corbin couldn't do this. because he's younger. It doesn't really make sense. He doesn't have the tenure. Whereas Sheamus like has been there for a while. I think he's the only person that they could feasibly get away with creating this type of hostile like situation.
Right.
But anyways, speaking of Braun Strowman, so there was a really brief promo, and this is one of like the last things that the third to last thing, which lasted maybe 5 seconds. It was just recapping the Miz and Morrison's capers last Friday, which feels like yesterday, by the way. So they're recapping, and then Braun threatened both of them, but also Otis and Tucker. Which was out of left field, kind of.
It makes sense with Otis because remember the Miz and Morrison's whole thing where they didn't think he was he shouldn't have gotten the Money in the Bank. They didn't feel he deserved it.
Also, Otis snuck up behind Braun at one point. So.
Well, yeah, but he played it off.
Oh, kind of like the joke with it.
Yeah.
I just think Braun's tired. Braun looked tired. So I don't know. It feels like he's getting like a little more hostile. So maybe this will open up the door for Braun to go out of his head and join Bray again.
I don't think they're gonna have. Bray might pursue somebody else.
I want Bray back.
He might pursue the Miz and Morrison if they win and get the title.
Oh God, I don't know if I can see that.
Imagine Miz TV in the Playhouse thing with the puppets.
Oh yeah, Funhouse.
Firefly Funhouse.
Firefly Funhouse. Blah, 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 blah. That would be funny if maybe they could guest star in Firefly Funhouse.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, first of all, but there really wasn't that much to talk about tonight. If maybe like, because last we saw at WrestleMania, John Cena got sucked into Bray's. So I'm wondering if like maybe when he comes back out, he's gonna be like the next member of the Wyatt family. He's growing his hair out, so.
I don't know.
But wouldn't that be awesome?
That might. I don't think.
Can't see him.
I don't think they'd want to tarnish John Cena's image like that. He
always come back. I mean, look at Daniel Bryan.
But think of his fan base. His fan base are like kids, you know. Like.
Yeah, that's exactly what Firefly Funhouse is for, Mark. The children's show.
I think they're just gonna have him come back at some point, as if nothing happened, and he's just gonna be like, "Yeah, I got out of there." No one's gonna say anything about it.
I heard some speculation that, and this could be totally off base, and this could be me remembering something I read at like 7 a.m. one morning, while I was like still sort of asleep. I thought I read something about Bray, like the very vague potential of Bray and Seth Rollins having something at some point.
Oh, hold on, I somehow lost your webcam on the live stream.
Well, I'm right here.
Oh, there we go. Okay, got you back.
Which seems kind of crazy, but they're both out of their own heads, so maybe. Who knows?
Yeah.
So after the Braun threatening anyone he comes into contact with, I guess, Sasha Banks and Bayley had their unveiling ceremony for their titles. Apparently they're still friends.
Unfortunately.
I'm giving it 2 more days. And of course, because this is the biggest feud that WWE has right now when it comes to women, Alexa and Nikki came out, which, you know, that's always a welcome surprise for me personally. And then the Iconics remote video chatted in. And sort of to the Iconics' pleasure, it almost felt like they had set it up together with Alexa and Nikki. Alexa and Nikki ambushed Bailey and Sasha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems like they're both just annoyed with Sasha and Bailey right now. And I think even Sasha's getting a little annoyed at Bailey.
And rightfully so. And I think what this is interesting in the sense that, like, what it's setting up, it now that Nikki and Alexa don't have the title, I feel like this is setting up an opportunity for Bailey and Sasha to have a massive target painted on their back.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives a chance for the Iconics and Alexa and Nikki to be fighting for the same kind of common goal, which is to just kind of knock Bailey down a peg.
But at the same time, somebody needs to win that title on Sunday.
Right. But at least, like, I feel like there's a better chance that it will not be Bailey and Sasha walking out of there with the title.
Right.
Or at least maybe not walking out being best pals.
One can hope.
You know, at the end of the day, maybe that's almost better.
Yeah.
Maintain the titles if they hate each other.
Sasha just needs her time in the spotlight.
She does, and she could be so much more than she is right now. Like, she has so much room to be on the same level as, like, Asuka and even Becky Lynch. Like, for her character, her look, her style of fighting, she doesn't need Bailey standing on the ringside distracting the ref and distracting, like, the other team members and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, she can do it on her own.
That was Charlotte Flair's whole point.
So I'm hoping that is what we will end up seeing at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Come Sunday. And then, of course, we got my sweet boy Tucker coming back for his first fight back, alongside Braun and Otis versus The Miz, Morrison, and my sweet, sweet Dolph Ziggler, wearing his little pride bandana and his pride cuffs. What am I cutting out again?
You skipped something. You skipped the Miz and Morrison interview where they show off the beginning of the music video.
Oh yeah, because that's actually the first note under this. Sorry, I was so excited about Dolph's little handkerchief. Yeah, the Miz and Morrison almost debuted their soulful music video, and I'm kind of upset that Braun Strowman interrupted it because I was kind of getting hyped for that. I was like, we got a new Bob. And the new title is Hey, Hey, Hey.
Oh, no.
No more ho ho.
They need an extra hey for Dolph.
But yeah, I was excited to see them all getting to come out together because knowing Dolph's relationship with The Miz and then getting to see them fight together feels just so perfect. So fun.
Yeah.
And Tucker got a lot of time tonight. He got a lot of time in the ring. Mostly because Otis ran away at one point.
Yeah.
Because Corbin came out of nowhere to flirt with Mandy. And for a hot second, I was like, oh my God, she's going to leave Otis. But no, sadly. Corbin still loses at the end of the day.
Would have been an interesting story to pursue, honestly.
It would have. I just want Corbin to get something, but
he needs
tonight.
He needs a win.
He does. We got to see some really cool moves because I mean John Morrison's always fun to watch. He at one point, I think it was Dolph was in the ring, I think, with Tucker, and Tucker was getting really close to tagging Braun in, but the Miz and Morrison pulled him down off the ringside. And John Morrison, the nimble little man jumps off the ring and kicks Braun in the face, and I was like, there's never a match that he is in where I don't like have to sit back at one point like, oh my god, how does someone do that?
Yeah, I wasn't super impressed with like the fighting in that fight. I will say Otis is always impressive to watch though. Somehow that very incredibly large man is capable of more than falling onto people and throwing people. I can't believe, and plus I love his whole his whole thing where he gets punched and he just does a little dance. That's that's what separates Otis from a lot of people and why he's like one of the best things about SmackDown right now.
Yeah.
But at the end, it went to Braun, Otis, and Tucky, like everyone expected.
And I thought that we were going to get like some sort of closure, at least to what Tucker was saying earlier on, where he was talking about the contract, because there was a point where after they won, Braun, Otis, Tucky, Mandy Rose are all standing in the ring like with their hands up, and you can see Tucker like whispering in his ear, pointing at the Money in the Bank contract, saying, "You need to use this." And I was like, "What?" So we didn't get any closure there, and as I expected, you know, it's a match before a pay-per-view event. A lot of it's just building up, or tying things off so that once everything is built up, then either it ends at the pay-per-view or new beginnings can happen after that. Sort of like we saw at NXT this past Wednesday. But we did get teased with something that has excited the pants off me, which is Matt Riddle's coming next Friday.
Yeah, I'm excited for
and
that too.
I don't know what's gonna happen there, but I am so excited to see him finally do something. I love him so much. He's so goofy and yet so scary in the ring.
I don't know who he could fight though. Like,
if it's not Daniel Bryan or Drew Gulak, I'm gonna be upset. Like, those are the best technical fighters they have.
I mean, they might match him up with just some enhancement fighters just so he can just show off. But they might throw him against Drew Gulak. I feel like Daniel Bryan is too in the middle of his story right now to let Matt Riddle shine. I feel like, because Drew Gulak, I think, has won every fight he's been in recently. He's due for a loss, especially against someone who needs to shine.
I think for sure. I don't think that they would put him against an enhancement, only because he's kind of still like he's well known enough that if you're watching enough NXT and you're watching enough SmackDown even, and you're kind of keeping up to date, you know who he is. I think putting him against someone that's already known and giving him the win would be really exciting. Even putting him against King Corbin, and even if he doesn't win necessarily, but he like fights hard, and it's like a fight where like whoever wins afterwards is like, did not see that coming. I think that'll do more than enough for him to show that he's still a threat.
Yeah, Corbin might be interesting. Elias, they could just have another person beat on Elias.
Elias is broken.
I would love to see him just take on Jackson Riker. That would be satisfying.
I want him to actually kick Jackson Riker's teeth out instead of Timothy Thatcher already missing teeth.
Allegedly. I don't know. There's a lot of options they could take with him. I'm trying to think of someone who would be a good, like, who's very similar to him in terms of just personality. Maybe Otis or Tucker. Maybe, I don't know. It's very hard to think about just because he's so unique. He's so different.
I think it would make sense to put him against someone with less of like a character like Drew Gulak, because then you kind of get to let his character shine a little more, as opposed to
Right.
putting two very big characters in a ring together.
Mm-hmm.
Like for his first fight, I feel like that might muddy the waters a little bit.
Yeah.
I think the biggest character they could put him in with would be Corbin, and that would make sense. Because
Yeah.
Corbin's still pretty technical.
AJ Styles even.
I don't want to see AJ Styles for like another couple of like weeks. Not
What-
after this.
What if Matt Riddle pulls the biggest flex or the biggest like just big balls play, the galaxy brain play, and just immediately say, "Hey AJ, I'm gonna challenge you for the Intercontinental Championship as my first fight in SmackDown."
Just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You know what? I can see him doing that. He's a nut.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so let's start with, because we still have to make our predictions, which I don't
Yes.
even know what your predictions are because we only talked about who was fighting.
I have my predictions.
Well, let's save that for the end. Let's do our fighter promo of the night. Let's do our promo of the night.
I'll let you go first since I went first last time.
I'm the host. And anytime I scroll, my camera lags.
I can go first if you want me to.
I mean, I think the promo of the night's kind of a given.
Really?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say it's the Sheamus and Jeff Hardy.
Wait, the in-ring thing? Like the urine test?
The contract signing. Or Sheamus never really signed the contract, but the contract signing.
Are we considering that a promo?
Well, yeah, because they were promoting the fight.
Okay. Then yeah. I wasn't going by that as a promo. I was gonna say it was the Otis Tucker Mandy thing where Jeff and Sheamus just start brawling.
Kind of the best of both worlds.
Yeah, but now that it's more clear, yeah, I'll go with the contract signing from the very beginning. Just because that was out of nowhere.
It was just so viscerally disgusting.
And it was hilarious because at the end, Sheamus didn't even sign the contract.
He threw the table.
Did he throw it or did Jeff throw it? I think Jeff
No,
threw
he
it.
threw it. Jeff threw his urine at Sheamus and then walked away. And Sheamus, in a fit of rage, threw the table with the contract on it.
Oh my god, yeah, okay.
Even though it like didn't do anything for us ultimately, it did lead to them brawling backstage. So
And it was also an amazing way to open up the show.
yeah, I guess we could call it amazing.
Anyway, fighter
but-
of the night.
Fighter. I think this also might be a given, for me at least.
Really?
I think so. And it's because he spent an hour trying to fight. And that is my sweet, sweet birthday twin, Daniel Bryan.
I don't even need to hear your explanation. I already know why, especially since that fight was legitimately like an hour long.
And it was a fight.
Yeah. I mean, this one was a little difficult for me. Right off the bat, I was like really impressed with Kofi. He was the star of the first fight. But that fight didn't. I don't know. The fighter of the night's always like somebody that shows off their fighting style and their character at the same time. Gives amazing reactions to and highlights the other fighter as well. Otis is also up there. He was definitely the highlight of the last match. But I don't know. I'm torn between Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles. Both because yeah, I know you don't like AJ Styles and yeah, he's a flat earther, but my god, his counters to Daniel Bryan were phenomenal. And the fact that he could respond with his technical wrestling, with more technical wrestling, while also throwing in his own style, his own styles.
This is where I end the podcast. Thank you for joining us.
But I don't know. It's both of them were so great in that fight, and it's not like one of those fights that just lasted forever and just dragged on. It was great and exciting all the way through, at least in my opinion.
What ruined it for me, at least as far as AJ Styles is concerned, is that like he had some really crappy punches.
You're right.
Like there was not a moment where Daniel Bryan like did something and I was like, that didn't look real at all. But there were just some moments with AJ where it was like, don't even, if you're not gonna try, don't try.
Yeah,
I'd rather be in the corner.
I remember now. Yeah, I was thinking that in my head as I was watching and forgot it until now. But okay, yeah. So I'll go with Daniel Bryan since they were both tied, and now you reminded me about AJ
Tucker's my
Styles.
honorary, but that's just because he came back tonight.
He didn't
I
do
love
much today. I would have loved to see him do more.
He was one of the biggest things in the ring. Because
Yeah.
Otis ran away and he couldn't tag Braun in. He just kept getting beat up.
Exactly, he just kept getting beat up.
But I love him. It was his first night back.
I know, and that's why I would have loved for him to do more. You cut out there. You didn't catch what you said.
Well, I'm not repeating myself. Anyways, so on to our fight of the night.
Yeah.
Which, again, of the 3 fights we saw tonight, I have one favorite, and that's about it. And that's the Intercontinental Championship fight.
Yeah, I mean, as I said earlier, it should have been a main event fight. I don't know why it wasn't. There was nothing in it that would have made it not a main event fight. I mean, the triple threat tag team kind of it wasn't really main event material. It had some good story elements in there. Wasn't super exciting to watch. And then the first fight was just like, it was a throwaway fight.
They were like, we have to have a fight. We don't know what to do. Just bring these guys out.
Yeah. So it's definitely Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles for sure.
Yeah, that was very similar to like last NXT with Dexter Lumis and Adam Cole. Like it was like, it was a long fight, but there were a lot of really exciting things that happened, and I was just, oh my god. I kept saying, I was terrified that I was gonna hear like that bad cartilage popping noise anytime that either of them like flipped like their knees back or like their arms back, and I was like, stop.
Yeah. Even though it had the sort of results that we weren't looking for, I feel like we should just judge a fight based on the fight itself. So that's at least why I'm choosing Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles, just because the fight itself was the best.
Yeah. So
predictions.
Let's dive into the predictions, and I guess let's also make predictions for the 2 matches that I guess are rumored to potentially be happening. They haven't been announced yet.
Seems like
so I'm going to go through the list of the matches first, and then we can go one by one.
Okay.
So the matches that have been announced so far, and anything can be announced within the next 2 days. I am sure that at least one more thing will be announced at some point. I don't think that this is where it ends. But we have Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley. We have Braun versus Miz and Morrison. We have Asuka versus Nia Jax. Edge versus Randy Orton, which is the entire reason we're here.
The greatest fight of all time.
Bayley and Sasha versus Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss versus the Iconics. Apollo Crews versus Andrade. Sheamus versus Jeff Hardy. I just wrote Jeff. Sheamus versus Jeff. And then the 2 predicted matches that have not been announced, but I think are pretty likely, are Viking Raiders versus Street Profits, because we've had 3 or 4 weeks now of build up to like a fight with them.
Is that for the Raw Tag Team title?
Yes.
Okay.
And then Seth Rollins versus Aleister Black. Or as I like to call it, the Rey Mysterio Memorial Match.
The retirement
So-
ceremony.
We'll get into it. So let's start with Mr. McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley.
Do you want me to start or do you want to start?
I mean, I think we know what my prediction is. So
You're going.
my prediction is very obvious. It is Drew McIntyre. If he loses the title, I will cry a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to be really upset. And if he wins, I'm going to be off my ass on like a high that I probably won't come down from for at least 4 days.
And we should preface with the rules that should we say like any wrong predictions we take a shot for?
Yes. So as I think I've mentioned in past podcasts, episodes, I guess, our rules are we can choose the same person for a match, but if either of our predictions are wrong, we have to take a shot. Now, I don't drink a lot of liquor to start with, to preface that. I don't like liquor. I literally only drink hard seltzer, but I decided that because the match that I'm here for is Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley, and Drew McIntyre is a Scottish-born man. So I thought, why don't we find a Scottish liquor? I don't drink scotch. I don't drink whiskey. So I'm going to buy a nice bottle of something I've been meaning to buy for a while now, which is Hendrick's Gin. And I'll probably mix that with like a little bit of like lemon juice or something just to get like palatable. And we'll be taking shots of that prediction. Hopefully I get a lot of these right because I'm a lightweight and
Yeah.
so on to you.
And it's we're not really like going against each other. It's more so us against the house, kind of.
Yeah, but if one of us has more correct predictions, that'll be awesome because I hope that we don't agree on everything.
Yeah, no, I already know we're not going to agree on some stuff. But with that said, my first prediction is for Drew to win because it would be very weird and yeah, it would just be very weird for the guy who beat Brock Lesnar to lose to Bobby Lashley.
And I mean, to be fair, Bobby Lashley is pretty similar to Brock Lesnar, but at least my point of view on this is if you know Drew McIntyre's whole story, which I've probably recanted 14 times already on this, like we've been doing this for about a week now. If you know his whole story, if you know that he was originally in WWE, I think starting in early it's sometime in the mid 2000s. And if you know about like the whole thing where he was like in the 3-man band with Heath Slater and Jinder Mahal, and then he got kicked out because of his whole marriage with Taryn Terrell and her beating him up at a hotel, and he was like not safe in the ring, he was dangerous to fight against. Basically he had the rug pulled out from underneath him because 3-man band had shows and like a storyline, and all of a sudden he got a phone call saying like, hey, you're out, like you're done.
Allegedly.
And Vince
Allegedly.
No, not allegedly. But then he basically was like, I either had to give up or knuckle down, and I knuckled down, and he went right back to like Impact Wrestling, and he fought in Scotland for a while, like Scotland and Ireland, and doing the UK circuits. And finally he made his way back just recently because Vince McMahon was like, listen, I always believed in you. You just were a mess and you weren't someone that we wanted fighting. And now Vince McMahon's like, you're my boy. You're the son I wish I had, because you're not Shane. And I want you to be successful. And so I cannot imagine that the man in charge of this entire thing would suddenly turn around and be like, yeah, you've had it for, what's it been? 3 months, 2 months now? Give it to Bobby. Like, that doesn't make any sense, so. And that's your Drew McIntyre verbal history for today.
So yeah, that's Drew McIntyre's my prediction.
So after I have hopes and prayers riding on this match. But after that, and I don't think that this is an order of how it's going to happen at Backlash, by the way. I'm sure Edge and Randy are not going to be fourth in line, and Sheamus and Jeff are going to be last.
Yeah.
But we have Braun versus Miz and Morrison for the Universal title. And by the way, the Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley is for the WWE Champion title. I should pull up that article. So what's your prediction for Braun?
Miz and Morrison. Because I think there's going to be something that happens during the fight that's going to give them the edge. Whether it's Bray Wyatt coming back, whether it's Dolph helping out, whether it's some cheap tricks, I think they're going to get some kind of assistance.
I'm lagging a little bit just because I'm trying to pull up the matches again so I know what people are fighting for. So yeah, Drew and Bobby is WWE Championship. This is going to be Braun versus Miz and Morrison is Universal. And I'm going to say probably should have thought about this beforehand.
Yeah.
Well, this is like the one match that really hasn't been on my mind because I don't really know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But to make it interesting, because I really don't have any inkling one way or the other, I'm going to say Braun, only because Braun is being put through hell by these two men.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I love Miz and Morrison, I feel like they've got to be kind of knocked back a little bit.
But they've been getting into the mind games, you know. We've been seeing kind of their thought process. They're trying to throw him off his rhythm.
And they did it tonight, so
they got some good hits onto Braun. If it wasn't for Otis and Tucky, maybe they would have had a shot. Who knows?
Hang on. Okay, sorry. I accidentally did Command N instead of Command B. Okay, so then Asuka and Nia. Where are you standing on that one? I think I know where we're both standing on this one, but...
You said Miz and Morrison for the last fight, right? Or did you put Braun?
No, I said Braun for the last fight.
Okay, so that's already something we disagree on.
That's why I want to make it interesting, because
for this fight, I'm picking Asuka because she's been getting beaten down on a lot by Charlotte and by Nia randomly after matches, and Nia's been beating on Kyrie, so this is the perfect time. Yeah, and this whole thing is Asuka needs to prove that she's worthy of the title that she was handed, and what other opportunity than now where she's avenging a friend, her best friend.
Yeah. I obviously agree with you because we love Asuka, and Nia Jax drives me absolutely insane. The fact that she's still allowed to fight after injuring so many people. And mind you, the injury she caused Kyrie that caused the buckle bomb to be banned was like a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like a year ago or something like that where it's like, oh, all's been forgotten. It was a month ago.
Yeah.
And they're still letting her fight her. If Nia Jax wins, I'm going to need to be drunk if she wins.
So we both agree on Asuka.
So I feel weird bringing this up again because I don't know why it's listed as the fourth match on ESPN, but Edge versus Randy Orton. The whole reason this whole thing's happening.
The greatest match of all time.
The greatest show. What do you think?
Well, I think we agree on this, and that's that Edge is going to win because they're not going to have him lose to the guy who's been beating up his wife. Like, you're not going to have Orton win right now. That's worse than having AJ Styles beat Daniel Bryan.
I just loved that the whole reason that Randy Orton's whole explanation for why he had to beat up or why he had to knock out Edge's wife was she was like convincing you that you could do this and you can't. Like, you're still injured. You need to stay home. That was it. And I was like, you know what? In a weird way, kind of a nice friend move. I kind of see it. But maybe not the way to go about it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, do you hear what's happening outside the window?
I hear that too. What is that? Sounds like a pterodactyl or something.
Is that a raccoon? Is that like an angry raccoon noise?
I have no clue what noises raccoons make.
1 second, I need to like look out the window. I'm sorry.
All right, I'll keep the stream busy while you do that.
I've got my headphones unplugged so I can hear you.
All right, welcome everybody to the Mark Mifsud Happy Fun Hour. Today we'll be discussing the best animals in the world. First off, you've got the Brontosaurus, then you've got the polar bear, followed by the jackalope.
I'm back.
I'm not done though. You got me into this whole.
Being torn limb from limb. I'm assuming it's a raccoon and not some like swamp creature that crawled out because of the pandemic.
Well, I was in the middle of my show, so can I at least list off the last animal, the best animal of all time? All right, it's the platypus. Thank you. You may continue. Thank
you. I really enjoyed that segment. Our halftime for our Backlash predictions. Sorry, it's like last time there's a wasp in the room. This time there is a raccoon having just an absolute shit fit.
Unless it's having sex.
If that's what they sound like, I don't want to. I'm glad I couldn't see out my window. So I obviously am also rooting for Edge because 1, I'm in love with him. 2, he looks so tired. And 3, I just want to see Randy Orton get what's coming to him so bad.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good guy versus bad guy fight.
Yeah.
And here's where a lot of our predictions might mess up. We're very much in the traditional storytelling mindset because we come from film and TV. Where all stories basically end with the good guy winning, pretty much, almost always. WWE is very unpredictable when it comes to that. It seems like they actually try and make it real by having a lot of times whoever's the legitimate best fighter come out on top, which... I mean, that's great and all, but you set up these stories for a reason. But I'm worried that we'll be thrown for a loop on some of these fights because I guarantee you we're almost always going to go for the good guy wins, except in my case when I picked Miz Morrison against Braun. Because all of these are good guy versus bad guy situations.
That's true. And I think it's just also optimism, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if you don't come from the mindset of like, this is how I would write a script, you watch movies, you know how those go, and you're like, well, the bad guy sucks and the good guy's good, and at the end when the credits roll, it should be the good guy who's up here.
Right.
But
I guess it also depends on who's going to come out on top at or during these story wrap-ups. What?
I'm sorry. I'm not good at not being distracted by things, and this is very distracting. Um.
But
So
as I was saying, like it's all about who's gonna come out on top during these story wrap ups. At the ends of the stories, who's gonna come out on top. The Braun versus Miz and Morrison, that's not an ending to a story. The Drew versus Bobby is an ending to a story. Edge and Orton is an ending. So that's really where you get into the good guy versus bad guy situations and the catharsis from that.
Mm-hmm. So let's move on to Bailey and Sasha versus Nikki and Alexa versus the Iconics. What do you think's gonna happen there?
I think Iconics.
Okay.
I think Bailey and Sasha are gonna be knocked down a peg because they are being ganged up on. And Sasha and Bailey need to sort of split up. And also, they're not going to have Nikki and Alexa win the title back that they just lost. That would be very pointless for everything going on, everything that's happened leading up to this point. It would make it all pointless. And the Iconics just came back. I mean, what better way for them to come back than to win the tag team women's title?
So because the Iconics annoy me and Bailey and Sasha, if they aren't broken up by the end of Sunday, I'm gonna be upset. Anyways, I'm rooting for Nikki and Alexa because, yeah, in theory, it's silly that like they lost the title and then they got the title back. But like I feel like a 3-person team, or one, everyone hates Bailey and Sasha, or a 3-person tag match rather. 1, everyone hates Bailey and Sasha. 2, Sasha and Bailey, their relationship is kind of like hanging on the edge. I feel like because the Iconics have been such egomaniacs and haven't really proven that they're capable of winning the title outside of like cheating, I don't think anyone's going to really be allowed to like cheat or use distraction tactics
Mm-hmm.
in a 3-person tag match.
Or that might be the best opportunity for somebody too, because there's only gonna be one ref, and the ref can't keep their eyes on everyone.
I mean, this one's one of those matches where it's really vague to me. I'm not really sure, but I know I want to see Nikki and Alexa win.
I do too, but I have a feeling it's gonna be the Iconics.
I also just cannot stand the Iconics whole thing. Too long because we've basically already seen this match 14 times as it is. Apollo Cruz versus Andrade.
My money's on Apollo, not Andrade, Apollo, because the storyline right now is Zelina Vega's dissolving crew. They're gonna continue it. They're gonna have Andrade lose for the title, which Apollo just got back from Andrade. Was it from Andrade?
Yes, he won it from him.
It would be very weird, just like the whole Alexa Bliss Nikki Cross thing, for him to have just lost the title and for him to just get it back. Like, it's a weird flip flop, and I think they're gonna start Apollo Cruz's reign, with the North American title, the U.S. title.
It is. I thought I just set up. Maybe I didn't. United States Championship.
United States Championship. Yeah, I think it's going to be sort of his reign with the United States Championship. And then also the bigger sort of story with Zelina Vega's crew.
Yeah. I also choose Apollo. 1, because he's got a winning smile. And 2, it would be, especially after like the fight that the entire storyline that he had going into this, where his fight with Apollo, or his fight with Andrade, resulted in him like having a screwed up knee, and then he came back, won the title, and now all of a sudden Andrade's like, but I want it back. So I don't see that happening at all. I get a feeling that something's gonna happen that's gonna further dissolve Zelina's crew. I don't see the title leaving Apollo's hands at all this Sunday.
Then we're agreed on that.
Yes, and we are now down to our final scheduled match, which is Sheamus versus PP Crybaby Jeff Hardy.
My money's on Jeff Hardy. He's just returned. Sheamus is a heel now. And Sheamus has been acting like a real ass to him. You know? You're not... It's like the whole Edge versus Orton thing. You're not going to have the guy who's been making fun of your alcoholism and drug addiction to win. That's a horrible look for WWE. And for Sheamus.
So I picked Sheamus.
Of course you did.
I love Sheamus. He's my favorite. Of like almost everyone on SmackDown, he's my favorite person. And I think the thing is that like he's a heel because I don't think the full story is out there yet. If something happens where the full story comes out, you know, maybe Mr. Hackerman's like, I have the footage from the car accident. Look, it's Corbin in a wig. You know, I feel like that's what's going to happen. I feel like that's what has to happen. And Jeff's going to be like, oh no, I've eaten up this man. And this man thinks that I'm an alcoholic because why else would he think that this happened? He doesn't think that I was set up.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that there's a word for it in theater and there's a word for it in film where it's like a very convenient thing happens to turn the plot.
Deus Ex Machina.
That one. I'm hoping that there's a Deus Ex Machina kind of thing where it's like something is revealed because something has to be revealed. We don't have actual proof that it was Sheamus. We don't have a confession. We don't have anything. And that's why Sheamus is a heel right now, because Sheamus thinks that he did it. Sheamus thinks that Jeff was the one who hit Elias and is just hiding behind like this, like, oh, I'm back, I'm better, I'm doing so well. Because Sheamus thinks that he's lying, and Jeff Hardy thinks that Sheamus is lying. And someone needs to come forward halfway through this match and be like, neither of you are lying, sort of. It'll be me.
AJ Styles.
No. I need the Hacker Man to come back and set everything straight. I think that he has not had a good chance recently to like come back for anything.
Yeah.
And this is his perfect moment because it was captured by witnesses. And if there's one thing that they also probably captured, it was footage from security cameras. And Jeff's going to see it and he's going to be like, that's not Sheamus. That man doesn't have jacked little muscles and pasty white skin.
What if the hacker is Matt Riddle?
So that's what I've been setting up this whole time. I'm going to be really annoyed because Matt Riddle's character does not seem like he knows how to use a computer. The original bro does not seem like he's very interested in hacking things. He wasn't even looking the right way in that one Johnny Gargano like clip.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, my money's on Sheamus. My money is also on something major happening to set everything straight because I am tired of wondering. I don't want to keep making my speculations. I want someone to tell me the truth. So let's quickly talk about possible matches that might come up. And obviously one of them I'm hoping does come up. Because I think that there's still a chance that they're going to announce something else. And the first possible match is Viking Raiders versus Street Profits. And ultimately we can use this prediction later on if it does not come up. Because it will have to happen sooner or later. So I want to know what you think about that.
I've got a pretty bold prediction. I think both are going to win. I think because there's been zero hostility between the two teams, there's no reason for them to really be fighting besides the title itself. I think there's going to be a team or a person that comes in, tries to crash the party, and they both sort of double team against them. They've just been setting, like, they started out at the basketball match like actual opponents, guys that didn't take each other seriously, or that took each other seriously. And then as the games evolved, they started becoming closer and closer friends to the point where they're defending each other against Bobby Lashley. It would be weird for them to just all of a sudden be like, okay, now we fight? Question mark. I couldn't see one of them pinning the other.
What if I tell you that this is for a tag team championship?
I know it's for a tag team championship. I stand by it. I don't think that either of them are really gonna want to hurt the other, and there's gonna be something that comes in between.
So, okay, how would you lose that then? If one of them does lose?
If one of them wins, yeah.
Okay.
If if I'm wrong, then I take a
Okay.
shot.
I personally didn't realize that there was a C, all of the above option, but I think that the Street Profits would win. It makes sense to me because one thing WWE loves is not quite as bulky men, and Montez is a skinny little fella.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that there's definitely room for like some crazy moves. If this match even does happen, because again, still not confirmed. It's just something ESPN. I think that Street Profits would be the ones to maintain the championship.
What if MVP comes in and crashes the party?
So I was thinking about that, and I was like, but basically that would just end up a 2 versus 5 match because Drew was on the side of the Viking Raiders and Street Profits.
Right. I'm saying Bobby and Drew stay out of it. What if MVP just shows up? He doesn't like challenge them, but he like crashes the party, and they're both like, "You guys want to kick this guy's ass?" And they do, and then they share the tag team title. And
I wouldn't mind seeing that, I guess.
I mean, it would definitely be fitting of the two teams. Will it happen? Probably not. But I stick by it.
Finally, let's talk about the match that I would love to see happen. And again, was potential, and it would make sense given their history. That is Seth Rollins versus Aleister Black. If it does happen, it would be Seth Rollins versus Aleister Black, and Buddy and Austin stay to the side and don't kick Aleister's head in, regardless of whether he wins or loses.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Obviously, I'm pro Aleister Black winning, no matter what.
I mean, I would love to see Aleister win, but I think Seth is due for a win against Aleister. He's officially lost to him every time they've fought. And if you're going to have Seth lose in a big way, like actually lose, not lose, get back up and start kicking his ass, it's going to be to Rey Mysterio. It's not going to be to Aleister Black. The ideal situation is a 3-on-3 Rey, or a 4-on-3 Rey, Dominic, Aleister, and Humberto versus Seth, Austin Theory, and Buddy Murphy. But maybe Aleister will lose this upcoming fight so that he is like injured or dead, and so that makes it a 3-on-3.
personally, my view on this is, Alistair's gotten a couple of wins over Seth recently, but primarily up until last Monday. Time is linear when it comes to wrestling, or circular. I don't know. Anyways, up until last Monday, I think Alistair lost most of his fights to Seth's disciples, if you will. And even when he wins, Seth still, tries to injure him.
Mm-hmm.
Hey. I think Alistair deserves a win where he's still standing afterwards. And Seth doesn't stomp his face into the ground.
But also, Seth's been threatening hurting Alistair for a while. He's been threatening taking his eye the same way he took Ray's. And I feel like they're leading up to him actually doing it.
Imagine Alistair comes out in an eye patch.
Or, like, blind man sunglasses. And a
Maybe
cane.
if you have this fight, maybe he would come out in safety goggles. I think, at the end of the day, Seth he said, this is what I said would happen if you, tried to come after me again. And that was last Monday when he stomped Alistair's head into the ground again.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the whole taking his eye thing is gone. He said, I told you this is what was going to happen. And then he did it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I'm hoping that this fight does happen because watching Aleister Black fight is thrilling. But we won't know until, I'm assuming at the latest, 6:55 p.m. on Sunday.
Yeah.
So that wraps up tonight's episode. As I literally just said, Backlash starts at... Oh, sorry, I just got a finger in your face. Backlash starts at 7 p.m. on Sunday. We will be watching it. We have a new Twitter, which I don't think the @ is in the podcast right now.
It's not.
But we have a Twitter for the podcast, and we will be live tweeting for most of it. Chances are I'll make at least a handful of really bad memes. And we will probably be on, I would say, somewhere around 10-ish.
Since Liz didn't say the name of the Twitter, it's the Pinfall Cast.
Yes, at the Pinfall Cast. Pinfall Podcast was taken by folks who, back in 2015, I guess, had a podcast for Impact Wrestling. And their most recent tweet from 2015 was back when Drew McIntyre was Drew Galloway. And it was for some fundraiser he was doing. So unfortunately, until they, I guess, remember they have a Twitter, we will have to be at the Pinfall Cast. So follow us. And if you know us and you already follow us on our Twitters, we'll probably retweet a lot of stuff from there anyway. So
yeah, our Twitters, mine is right here at Mark Milkdud, and Liz's is right, where's my finger pointing? Here at Eliza Elaine 23. Please follow if you enjoyed, so you can stay in tune for the specific time that we go live, and you'll stay in tune for all the other times we go live after this. We'll also have some more interaction in the next stream, where we'll have the wheel.
the Wheel of Fortune or Doom.
That might kill us. But we'll see. Thanks for watching, everybody.